If you have just joined Joy News on Multi TV, this is News Desk, and we are talking issues happening around us. So the peasant farmers in the country are calling on the parliament to review the Plant Breeders Bill before passing it into law. According to the peasant farmers, the Plant Breeders Bill does not consider farmers' interests but protects the indigenous people. It only protects the rights of the breeder, who actually are the big manufacturers.
The agricultural sector in the country is key to overall growth and development, as it provides employment to about 4.2 million people in the country, whilst providing livelihoods to about 80% of the rural people in the country. Peasant farmers say they fear they will lose local or indigenous seeds gradually till a complete takeover of the seed industry. They said the government should rather support the Center for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, financially to enable them conduct research to better the industry. In an interview with Joy News, the program coordinator of the Peasant Farmers Association, Victoria Adongo, urged Ghanaians to help fight against this bill.
We have been campaigning against the passage of the Plant Breeders Bill. And then, as you heard from the statements, we are against some specific clauses there. We want to take yet still, and at this opportunity, use it and send out our message to the Speaker, to the Parliament, and especially the Parliamentary Select Committee on Legal and the one that Bagwin is. He's also the majority leader. So we are using this opportunity, to send a message, and the press is the best way to send a message out there.
I have been joined on phone by the Bernard Guri. Jude Tego instead. Jude Tego is online with me right now. Thanks, Jude, for joining us. Hello, Jude. We lost Jude too. Jude is the executive director of the Center for Indigenous Peasant Farmers, and we're hoping to get him to. So whilst we try getting Bernard online, let's also quickly let me tell you a bit about the Power Ministry. So government's decision to create a Power Ministry has been described as financially unwise, and at least in the short term, according to Chief Executive of the Institute of Green Growth Solutions, Dr. Eric Jum, what is needed at the moment is for government to clear the bureaucracy that is hindering independent power producers from coming on board to supplement ongoing efforts to increase the generation capacity. We'll bring you the details of the story later on in the show. But at the moment, I have been joined by Jude Tego. He is the Agricultural Sovereignty Ghana. He's with them, so he's going to tell us a bit more about the peasant farmers and their grievance. Hello, Jude. Thanks for joining us here on News Desk.
Thank you, madam. Good morning.
Hi, Jude. Tell us quickly, the peasant farmers are worried that the introduction of the Plant Breeders Bill will not be in their interest.
Exactly. And I think, like many other organizations, it is one issue which serves as a great cause for worry. And I think that several campaigns which have taken place here in Ghana by faith-based organizations, by farmers' unions, by labor unions, simply goes to explain the fact that the Plant Breeders Bill currently before Parliament does not benefit the hard work of the Ghanaian farmer. It actually protects them and is rather going to inflict more pain and, unfortunate circumstances being forced onto them. And they are raising very important issues. The peasant farmers are saying that, look, for instance, Section 3 of the Plant Breeders Bill simply states that before you can register a seed, and the Plant Breeders Bill mostly talks about registration of a seed, and it says that before you can register a seed, that seed must be new, must be distinct, it must be uniform and stable. When they say new, what they mean is that that seed must not have been propagated or sold to anyone before. But the peasant farmers are saying that our seeds are not like that. We have traded in our seeds from time in memorial. We have, done several things with our seeds. Now, you can't access to simply, engineer new seeds before we can register them. Another one says that it must be distinct, which means that it must be different from all other seedlings in the market. The peasant farmers or locals are not like that. Another clause says that it must be uniform. Uniformity means that upon harvest, your seed must come with the same color, it must be of the same size, or the plant, once it is growing, must be of the same height. Our crops don't behave like that. They don't behave like that. The only seeds you can have to behave this way are seeds which have been engineered in a laboratory. They are the ones you can command to behave like that. So this clause or this bill does not protect our own farmers. Again, Section 9 of the Plant Breeders Bill says that a foreigner of a country to which Ghana has a treaty or an organization like the UN, any foreigner of that country in the treaty can come to Ghana and register their seeds. At the same time, if you read the memorandum of the Plant Breeders Bill, it states that one of the benefits is that Ghanaian scientists and Ghanaian farmers are going to benefit through technology transfer. How can you ask somebody to sit in his country, produce his own seeds and come and register them, and still believe that there can be some transfer of technology when they are not being forced to come and set up their plant breeding companies here in Ghana? You understand? So there's also a very big problem with that particular clause. So these are several issues with the peasant farmers are raising, and it's important that we give them a listening ear. Now, if you look at Section 57 of the Plant Breeders Bill, it gives recommendation for civil remedy where a person infringes any of the rights that has been granted to a plant breeder. And where any person breaches the rights of the plant breeder can go to court to seek any remedy against the person who has breached that right. It could be an order of injunction to prevent the person from using the seed, or it can be a recovery of damages from the person who is infringing the plant breeder rights, or a forfeiture or seizure completely of the farmer's farm. Now, we don't know very well.
Hello, Jude.
Hello, madam.
Okay, so let me quickly, I have somebody with me in studio who would also join in this conversation. So whilst you be on phone, he will be in studio. Let me quickly introduce him to you so you have an idea who we have in the conversation with. So I have Bernard Waiguri. He is the Executive Director of the Center for Indigenous Knowledge and Organizational Development. And he also has his say on this issue. So let me quickly ask him, thanks, sir, for joining us in studio.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So the peasant farmers are aggrieved. They are worried that the Plant Breeders Bill, when passed, will not be in their interest. And that's why we had Jude Tego, who was also sharing his sentiment. And what do you also have?
Well, I agree 100% with what my colleague Duke has just said. But for me, from where I stand from a development perspective, I believe that we in Africa and Ghana in particular, if we want to develop, we need to develop based on what we have. We need to develop on our own indigenous knowledge base. And all continents, all countries that have developed based on their own knowledge base and the resources they have. And I believe that if they pass this bill, what it does is that it's going to and we should not only look at a bill in isolation, we should look at it in relation to a seed law. And as Dick was just saying, this is a bill that comes and more or less outlaw our own indigenous seeds. Of course, they say that the bill is not talking about GMOs, but if you look at the conditionality that is given, it only describes a GMO that fit into it. And so my position is that if Ghana is going to develop, we need to develop based on what we have. And now traditional farmers have produced seeds centuries ago. They are the first breeders before even Western breeders came. And we think that this bill ought to look at the right of our local breeders as well. It only gives power to it only gives rights to the foreign breeders or the Western breeders, those scientists, leaving out our own farmers who are also breeders. And we think that eventually, if this is passed and the law actually takes action, eventually we're going to lose all our local seeds, and it will be dependent on seeds coming from elsewhere. If there's a war today and they decide they won't provide Ghana with seed, what happens to us? That's the point.
All right. Jude, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sorry, I cut in your submission, but don't you also think some form of education needs to go a bit more in? Because at least I am sure that when those the GMO seeds can be replanted, can't they?
Yeah, they can be replanted.
And they won't be yielding?
All right, let me just state very quickly that we have the Biosafety Act, which was passed in 2011, and that is what will superintend over the introduction of GMO seeds or genetic engineering into Ghanaian agriculture. And it is one other act or a law which the peasant farmers, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Agricultural Workers' Union of the TUC, the Agriculture Sovereignty Ghana, and several other organizations are raising very, very strong issues against. And the Plant Breeders Bill is going to augment the efforts of the Biosafety Act in ensuring that there is a replacement of the very special and indigenous seedlings that we have in our country. So these are several issues that we are raising. What is simply happening is that there is a push, and what they often tell us is that they are trying very hard to help bring ingenuity or development into agriculture. But what is happening is not going to benefit Ghanaian agricultural farmers, it's not going to benefit our consumers, it's only going to lead towards more dependence on foreign imposed agric policies, which would alienate every effort by our hardworking peasant farmers. And the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, which has membership across the length and breadth of Ghana, has come out very boldly to say that, look, we have serious problems with the Biosafety Act that was passed in 2011, and also the Plant Breeders Bill currently before Parliament. And therefore, we need to seek more audience with Parliament. And on this call, I must say that we are most grateful. The campaigners against the Plant Breeders Bill are most grateful to Right Honorable Doe Adjao, who is trying very hard to get consultation from all stakeholders. There is no way we can have an agric policy in Ghana, a Plant Breeders Bill, because what is important is also that the Ghanaian farmer you see on the land who is doing 2 acres, who is doing 50 acres, who is doing some form of smallholder farming, is also a plant breeder. They are the ones who have protected our indigenous seedlings from time immemorial. And therefore, if you are putting in place any law which will superintend over the registration of a seed, you must consult them. Let them know what that bill is
Duke,
about.
Duke, let me find out. Hello, Duke.
Yeah.
Let me find out what exactly is the problem here, because this new bill seems to dwell a bit more on technology. Don't you think it's about time our local farmers also improved in terms of technology to catch up?
My dear sister, you see, this particular bill, the Plant Breeders Bill, only goes to talk about registration of seed. You understand? The bill seeks to give what you call scientists who are producing new variety of seeds, effective protection of their ingenuity. But what the problem is, and what the problem we have is that in Ghana, there are no private plant breeding companies here in Ghana. The ones we have here are public funded. It is by our taxes that we pay the plant breeders at the CSIR. We buy them the gadgets, and we give them all they need to breed new plants so that we can give it to our farmers to grow more food and ensure that we have food security in our country. The business of plant breeding is so sacred, and that was why upon the establishment of the CSIR and other public plant breeding companies, the motive was that we must ensure that our farmers are encouraged, they are given the necessary assistance to improve in agriculture. But what is happening now is that they want to privatize all plant breeding activities in Ghana. Yet, we don't have any private plant breeding companies. So in the end, the CSIR will be privatized. A public funded institution, which is being supported with public funds, will be privatized so that the scientists over there can now be claiming private profit for themselves. We have no problem if the at the CSIR, Grace Atipo and all of them want to now do private plant breeding, they can go and do it. We have no problem. But they cannot force our institution to be privatized so that they become private owners of the money we have given them to do our research.
That's a new accusation you're giving out there. Yes.
If you go to Monsanto, Monsanto is a plant breeding company. The scientists there, when they produce any seed, it is for the company. It is not for the individuals because they are paid to do it. It's the same with the CSIR, which is public funded. Why are they pushing the country to privatize the CSIR through these plant breeding ideas in order that they can own the resources, they can own the plant breeding which is taking place there? It is criminality. It is a fraud. Let me want to go out.
Let me come to the studio to Bernard Guri. Let me ask you the same question. Don't you think it's about time our local farmers, our peasant farmers, also improved themselves to catch up with technology and not fight unnecessarily?
Very important question. I think the issue is, if you listen to the peasant farmers when they give their press conference, they are not against science. They are for science. What we are saying is that in that science, let's give equal power to our farmers as against the science. Science is not just that you have to go to school. Science is about how you're able to manipulate your crop, and our farmers are scientists. They've been doing science all these years before even the Western scientists came. What we are saying is that how do we get our farmers' consent built into this bill?
Exactly.
Because their concerns have not been considered at all. All the concerns of the foreign breeders is what we're looking at, and the scientists, that is what we're looking at. The Center for Scientific Research is a very important institution for Ghana, and nobody disputes that. What we are saying is that in their research, how do they bring farmers in? There's what we also call participatory breeding. I'm a scientist myself, so I understand the issue. We call participatory breeding. When we look at the farmers, what are the best crops they have that they've developed? How can we build on that? How can we improve upon that? And that seed becomes, the ownership is owned by our farmers. And not like my brother Dick is saying, seed that's owned by somebody from outside. He sits outside and decides how we use his seed. And he can pull it away anytime.
At least this has been in the pipeline for some time now. What exactly have our local farmers, scientist farmers, attempted to do to curb this new development?
All that we have been eating, feeding Ghana and feeding Africa for all these years, was the work of our farmers.
I understand that's one. But when the Plant Breeders Bill was staring at you in the face and you did not like it, what did you also do? What have you done so far to try to also prove that we can make it on our own, we don't need this new development?
They've already proven their case. It's not that farmers now are not going to start producing seed. They've been producing seeds centuries. Our forefathers did it, handed it over till today, and they're still producing and they're modifying. They're doing research all the time on the farm. If you're a farmer, I'm a son of a farmer. What they do is after they plant, they'll go and look in our field and find the best crops and select those, keep them, and they know how to store them. So the next season they can use them. The next one they select the best again. It's all science. That's part of it.
I do understand this mechanism where when you plant this year, the yield and the quantity of yield you get will not be same as the following year.
We are talking about hybrids, hybrid seeds.
Okay.
Hybrid seeds will give very high yields in the first year, and under certain conditions. You have to give them enough fertilizer, you have to give them enough water. It's not just the seed alone.
Okay.
It can't, but the next year is going to be less. The third year is going to be less. You have to buy new seeds.
New seeds.
Again,
hasn't that always been the issue?
No.
Okay.
With traditional farming, we don't have to, I mean, they don't use hybrids. They don't necessarily use hybrids, although they do their own crossing in their own way. They select the best seeds and they cross them in their own way, in a natural way.
Okay.
What we are saying now is that science is coming from an unnatural way of breeding, which we are not sure about the future of it. We are not sure about the safety of the products that are coming out. Our traditional biotechnology techniques, they've done a natural crossing, and we know the food is safe. We have eaten it for centuries.
But you see, the problem here is the population is increasing. We are growing as a country, and so we need more production. We need more yielding, and so this GMO and plant breeders bill is kind of going to help boost production, agriculture production. So why would you protest this?
Well, we're saying that's not the only way to increase productivity. It's
how else can we be able to?
It's even questionable whether it really increases productivity. because that GMO comes in of using somebody's herbicide. Really, they are herbicide companies, and what they want is to market their herbicide. And this seed is conditioned to use that herbicide. And so if you are going to use that seed, it means you also have to use their own herbicide. So first of all, it's a marketing issue. Science has proved that through ecological farming, natural farming, we can increase productivity. You need to provide what it requires. You are talking about soil, you are talking about water, you are talking about the climate. If you can manage this, yes, you can deal with it. And so why are we not putting our effort into these areas? And our farmers have always managed their soil, they've managed water, they've managed even the climate. And there's proof, scientific proof, that yes, you can increase productivity this way. And you can increase and feed the population today and leave your land richer for the future. If you use this so-called science where this goes with chemical fertilizers, it goes with chemical herbicides, what you are doing, you are killing the soil today to feed yourself. What happens to the population that comes in the next generation? So that's why we're saying that let us abide by nature, let us use our natural science, let us see how can we do research to improve upon what the farmers are already doing. And our farmers, our researchers are very good at that. They are capable of improving the productivity of the farmers using the technology they have now. We don't have to go and bring a technology somewhere that nobody understands. Our farmers don't understand, they don't have any control over it.
Okay,
so if there's anything, we're all going to be thrown out.
Let me come to you, Duke. Bernard has made a point that we can't go and bring in a technology nobody understands. Don't you think that could be the problem?
Yeah, you see, my dear sister, the application of science and technology in agriculture in Ghana is not new. Tete Kwashi, he introduced the Amerando cocoa in 1879. Now, the Amerando cocoa took 7 years to yield fruits. Besides, in 1931, the Amerando cocoa was nearly wiped out in the Densu Valley, where they were widely grown after its first cultivation at Kapimampo by the capsid, you know, the Akati pest and the solid seed disease. Now, at the time, the colonial government set up by the West African Cocoa Research Institute. It set it up. Now that research is known as the Cocoa Research Institute at Bunsu in the Eastern region. Now, through research and application of science and technology, it is now able to produce a new breed of cocoa that matures in 3 years, no longer 7 years. So it's not as if that it is the first time we are going to see the application of science and technology in agriculture. However, by the engineering of a seed is very, very different from what we have done. And nobody is saying that GMOs are something which must be imposed on our country. Unfortunately, this is what they are trying to force very, very, very secretly onto Ghanaian agriculture. So we have serious problems. Now, we must always remember that seed is a renewable resource. Like the sun, seed is a renewable resource. And if you have problem with your soil because of depletion, what you do is to revive the soil, and the seed will always grow. Moreover, in Ghana, who says that we don't have enough food in our country? Go to the hinterland. There are so much food getting rotten because of bad roads. If it rains for 1 hour, the roads are choked. No vehicles can move. Go to our farming communities. They have no access to potable water. They have no access to education facilities. These are the things they need. So their farmers can be happy and grow more food. They're not saying that they need some, my dear sister, GMOs are just, a vehicle for the introduction of intellectual property rights. It is with GMOs that you can place your trademarks on them. You can actually patent it so you can own it. That is why they are pushing it. This thing about it growing more is a lie. And they know it is a lie. It doesn't grow more. With GM seeds, because it is a laboratory, you can engineer it and make it your ownership. Once you force it onto the market, then you can claim the profit. That is all. There's nothing new about it any longer. So we are not going to sit down for them to hide under the guise of biotechnology, to decide to just push these policies to us. And they think that Ghanaian farmers will watch. This will not happen. Every aspect of our national life has been privatized. Electricity has been privatized. Everything is privatized.
Electricity, I don't know if electricity has been privatized yet, Duke.
Oh yes, the process is ongoing. But
please don't mislead. It's not been privatized yet. Let's say what we know.
Exactly. Companies have been privatized. These were companies which could have provided jobs for our people. All of these companies are gone. What have they become now? They have become warehouses where we import goods and just go and keep them there. Meanwhile, there is so much unemployment on the roads. So we are not new to these things. All that we are saying is that it's important that any law which comes into our country this time around, surrounding how agriculture is, advanced, must be something which involves every stakeholder. Our farmers must be involved. They must involve the TUC. It must involve the Agric Workers Union. Everybody must be involved so we can convince ourselves that once more, this one will not be something which will go as all of the others have gone. These GMOs or genetic modified organisms will not increase yield. It is only going to lead towards helping people claim ownership of seed. That is why they are pushing it. However, as of now, our major concern is with the Plant Breeders Bill before Parliament House. And that Plant Breeders Bill is going to help people register new variety of seeds. That particular bill does not consider the fact that we have our own seeds here in our country, which must be protected. In any case, what has caused the need for this Plant Breeders Bill? If we don't have any private plant breeding companies in our country, if they really believe that this bill will lead towards technology transfer, as has been stated in the memorandum, how come that there is a clause in the Plant Breeders Bill which says that a foreigner, Section 9 of the Plant Breeders Bill says that a foreigner can sit anywhere in his country and come and register his 6 years. So there is no benefit to plant breeding in that case. This is what our concerns are. If we do not tackle this issue sufficiently, it will lead to hunger. It will lead to the poverty of our farmers, and this is what we must prevent. And in this struggle, the Agriculture Sovereignty Ghana, the Business Association of Ghana, CICOD, the Center for Indigenous Knowledge and Organizational Development, the Catholic Bishops Conference, the TUC, we are standing in full force against this bill. It is not in our favor, and we shall resist it day, night, and any time at all.
You resist it day, night, and any time at all. But now tell me, as you resist day, night, and any time at all, and your voice is not heard, what happens? The bill is still passed. What happens?
I think I want to diffuse the minds or the thinking of people as if it's one group fighting another group. It's not a fight. We are talking about food. We are talking about life. Our idea is that all of us ought to understand the implications of what is going on now and to realize that in the future we will be held responsible for whatever happens today. And so for us, we want to give alternative information. Of course, Parliament is there, scientists are there, much stronger institution than our small farmers. We want to make sure that we put this information in the public domain, let everybody understand that this bill that is being passed is not necessarily in the interest of all of us. Maybe they want to continue and pass it, let them pass it and they'll take responsibility for it in the future. It has happened. Chernobyl, this atomic energy, we've all seen all those technologies that came in. What happened at the end of the day? And it's going to happen again. So we're just warning that please, if you are taking these policies, remember that you are talking about these peasants there and should listen to them. And I can assure you that in other countries, if they continue to fight it, well, we're in a democratic country. I don't think people are forced to go and buy genetically modified seeds. It's just that people don't know. But we are going to make sure that people understand what it means to use this seed. Secondly, they can't even afford it. It's very expensive, 10 times more expensive than what the seeds the farmers use. And we listen to testimonies from farmers who are using these seeds. They tell you that their seed is much better than these seeds. Because these seeds go with expensive fertilizers, and now government has now to go and subsidize the fertilizer again when we could have produced this in our own way. We have our own technology and we can improve upon that. That's the point we're making. It's not a fight, but we just think that everybody ought to know what the implications of this bill. And if Parliament wants to pass it, let them pass it, and they'll get the consequences in the future.
I see.
Yeah.
We're trying to get through to CSIR to, get their bit of the whole situation. How come they are there? If they're being effective, why this new introduction of the bill this? Did I say bill this? Plant Breeders Bill. Duke, I'll come to you in a moment. So we quickly are trying our very best to get through to CSIR to find out from them why they are in existence, and we have to bring in new breeders, plant breeders, to come and decide. As Bernard says, they manipulate you can register from outside. Okay, that Duke said that's one. You can register from your country and still be able to, you know, be a plant breeder. Yes, Duke, now we can listen to you.
I dare to add that on this particular issue, the Bronx Ahafo Regional House of Chiefs have come out to state very clearly that they don't see anything in this bill which is in favor for farmers. And I'm very sure that if it hadn't been for the steadfastness of our campaigners who drew this issue up, the Plant Breeders Bill would have been passed just as the Biosafety Act was passed. And for the very first time, our chiefs have come and said that if Parliament should go ahead and pass this bill, our parliamentarians will suffer for it.
How will they suffer for it?
Yeah.
How will they suffer for it? Tell me, Duke.
My dear sister, if our parliamentarians are representing us, if we give them the mandate to go to Parliament, farmers give them the mandate, teachers give them the mandate, all manner of people give them the mandate. That mandate is our mandate. So they can't go there and pass any law which we don't want. At least for the very first time, we are saying we don't want this law. So they must listen to what our chiefs are saying, they must listen to what society organizations are saying, and they must listen to our farmers, the farmers who are, look, my dear sister, the UN, they have come out very clearly to state that smallholder farmers are the ones who are feeding the world, not the people who are doing large tracts of single crops. You go to the US or Australia or Canada, and on one farm you only find maize, which being grown on large hectares. Those kind of agriculture don't give you nutrition. They don't give you the necessary things you need as a human being to survive. The smallholder farmers are growing beans, they are growing cassava, they are growing corn, they are growing different things to ensure that we have a balanced diet anytime we go to the market. Why must we abandon these people or betray them in this manner? So our parliamentarians must be very careful, at least on this call. We have so much respect for them. And that was why we imposed our trust in them, that they will go to Parliament and put in place laws which will benefit our farmers. Our farmers have taken time and have read the Plant Breeders Bill. And they are saying that, no, this one is not for us. We don't want it. This is Ghana. And before any law is passed, we must seek the interest of Ghanaians first. It's important.
All right. Thank you so much, Duke Tego. You have really sounded very passionate this morning about the Plant Breeders Bill. We pray and hope your dream come true to see that peasant farmers, local farmers, smallholder farmers here will be the major producers of our food and exporters of our food as well to some other countries. Let's come to Studio Bernard. Your final words. What's the way forward?
I think we ought to look at this from a broader perspective. That our so-called development partners, that whatever they are doing, it is for their interest first. All this seed, what do you call it, the Plant Breeders Bill, it's all in the context of this new initiative to call the New Alliance for Food Security and Nutrition, which is a big G8 sponsored thing, where they give us conditionalities. One of them is that we have to pass this Plant Breeders Bill. In fact, we have to join UPOF 91, which is what we as Parliament is struggling to pass the bill as it is.
Okay.
Because that bill has a certain framework.
see.
And you have to use that framework if you have to qualify.
Mm.
It's also requiring that by 2015 we have to provide 10,000 hectares of land for foreign investors.
I see.
Where are we getting that land? That land comes from our small farmers. And so all this fits into this broader context. At the end of the day, it is just selling our country to these so-called foreign investors who are coming to produce, and it's not first to feed us, it's about export, it's about business. And that's why we're saying that if we are taking these policies, yes, we can't live we're in a global village.
Sure.
And we should take care that our local interests are addressed. Our parliamentarians are there first to represent our local people. We voted them into power. And so we are taking an important decision like that. Open your ears, listen to them. Of course, now they only listen to the foreign investors and just following the conditionalities, leaving out our farmers. So I would say that in this struggle, they should not see it like somebody trying to pull down another person. No, we're trying to see a situation where we create a better Ghana for all of us and for our future.
Sure.
And that's how we should look at it.
Okay, thank you so much, Bernard Guri. Bernard Guri is the Executive Director of the Center for Indigenous Knowledge and organizational development, and he says everybody wants the good of Ghana in terms of our food. It's been a pleasure coming your way with this morning's edition of News Desk. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. You can get more insight of the demonstration of the Coalition for Unpaid Nurses Association, who are demonstrating this morning in Kumasi. You could also get more on the Plant Breeders Bill that is yet to be passed in Parliament, and it is being protested vehemently by our peasant and smallholder farmers. My name is Gladys Osei Obredi. Join us again at noon when we bring you our first news bulletin of the day. Do stay with us.